All right, I'm going to go over the answers to the second review sheet that I gave you guys. All right. There's 8 problems on here. One of every type. The only thing that's not on here is a constant, which remember is just a horizontal line. All right, going through whichever the y value is. All right, your quiz will probably be set up very similar, where you're going to have roughly 8 problems, and probably one of each basic type. All right, so 8 to 9 problems on there, 8 to 10 probably. All right, so we have a cubic. All right, remember a cubic is an S curve going in that direction through the origin. All right, for an S curve, for a cubic, you need the middle point there and then 1 point on the right and to the left of it. All right, so normally we're at 0, 0, but we are shifting 1 to the right because we set this equal to 0, and we're going to move up 2. All right, so move 1 to the right, and we're going to move up 2. All right, okay. So 1, 2 is going to be like our middle point. All right, we were at the origin, we moved over 1, up 2. All right, this number here tells me how much I'm going up and down. So I'm going to go up and down 2, and we have to go to the right or left 1. Now, normally we go up and to the right and down to the left, but this negative means I'm going to go up 2 and to the left 1, and down 2 and to the right 1. All right, and then we get a graph that looks like that. All right, so this is at 0, 4, 1, 2, and 2, 0. Okay. If this was not a negative, this is a positive, we would have gone up and to the right and down and to the left. All right. So the domain and range of a cubic function are both always negative infinity to infinity. All right. There are no restrictions. All right. Number 2. All right. This is a square root. A square root, the basic shape, looks something like this. What we need is this starting point. All right. It's normally at 0, 0. So I move to the right 2 and down 1. So to the right 2, all right, and down 1. Okay, so so I am at 2, negative 1. All right, I'm right there. Now, this is how it normally looks. This is if there's no negative in here or no negative here. If there was a negative out front, then I'd be going down. All right. So anything that makes this positive means I'm going up. It just matter if I'm going right or left. Since this is negative, I'm going to go to the left. So this number is how much I go up because it's positive. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left 1, which is right here. So my graph, it's ugly looking, but it looks like that. So this is at 2, negative 1, and this is at 1, 3. All right, that's all you need. Domain, it's pointing to the left, so it's going to be from negative infinity to wherever the x value of my starting point is, which is 2, and it has a bracket around it. My range, since it's going up, is going to be the y value, which is negative 1 of my starting point to infinity. All right, so that is a square root. All right, absolute value, number 3. All right, this is a V-shaped. We find the vertex over 1. All right, to 1, there's nothing happening here, so it's at 1, 0. All right, that is my vertex. All right, this tells me how much I go up or down, and I always go to the right or left 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, to the right 1, to the left 1, and I draw my V's. It's supposed to be a straight line. That was awful. There it goes, intersects it. You guys get the idea. All right. 2, negative 4, 0, negative 4, and 1, 0. All right. The domain is everything, all real numbers, negative infinity to infinity. The range is negative infinity to 0 with a bracket. All right, 4, we have a log. There's nothing here. So what does that mean? That means we have base 10. So the points I'm going to be using, I'm starting with, are 1, 0, that we're getting shifted, and 10, 1. All All right. Now, I'm moving the graph to the right 2. I'm moving it up 3, and I have a vertical flip, which means I'm flipping over the x-axis. It means I change the sign of my y. All right, so normally at 1, 0, if that vertical flip doesn't do anything to it, but I move over 2 and up 3. All right, so this point right here, all right, is going to be, it was at 1, 0. All right, this change the sign here does nothing. Move to the right 2, so this is at 3, 3, comma 3. All right, now, since I moved to the right 2, I probably should put, I have a vertical asymptote at x equals 2 because it's normally at 0. All right, so we're at 3, 3 for that. 10, 1. So 10, 1's roughly over here, right? I flip it, becomes 10, negative 1. I then move it over, becomes 12, negative 1, up 3. It becomes 12, comma 2. All right, and it's going to look like this. And the reason I made like hash marks is because I don't feel like doing 12 things. All right, so it's 12, 2. It was at 10, 1, change the sign of the y, becomes negative 1, add 3 to that, that's where we get the 2. I'm at 10, 2 to the right, makes that a 12. All right, and there's the shape right there. Domain is going to be my vertical asymptote, which is 2 to infinity. The range is everything, negative infinity to infinity. All right. All right, 5 is a rational. All right, 5 is a rational. So rationals have vertical asymptote, horizontal asymptote. Set the bottom equal to 0. That gives you the vertical asymptote. We're shifting 1 to the right. It's normally at 0. It's now at 1. All right. This right here is your horizontal asymptote. I'm moving up 1. All right. Mouse battery's low. Great. Okay. So this is y equals 1, x equals 1. All right. So from here to get your other points, all right, and this negative means we have a flip. So instead of being in here and here, I'm now going to be in this area and this area with my curve. So from this 0.11, I'm going to go up 2, 1, 2, to the left 1. I'm going to go down 2, 1, 2, and to the right 1. And there's my points that I'm going to have. And you need to have those labeled. All right, so that's at 0, 3, and this is at 2, negative 1. The domain and range for a rational is always going to be, for the domain, it's going to be negative infinity to whatever the vertical asymptote is, negative infinity to, in this case, 1, union 1 to infinity. The range is always negative infinity to the horizontal asymptote, which is also, in this case, 1. So the domain and the range are exactly the same for this one. All right. All right, 6, what kind of graph is this? This is a linear graph. All right, just need 2 points for this. This is your y-intercept. All right, that is your y-intercept. Okay, so I'm going to put at 1. So I'm negative 3 over 2. I can either go down 3, 1, 2, 3, to the right 2, or you could have gone up 3 and to the left 2, whatever you want to do. All right, now we need 2 points. Jeez, sorry, it's not crooked. All right, so this is at 2, negative 2, 0, 1, 2 points, negative slope, good to go. That's all you need. Domain and range for a linear are always going to be negative infinity to infinity. Okay. All right. 7, exponential. All right. Exponential has a horizontal asymptote at 0, and it goes through 0, 1. Looks like that, right? Since it's e, all right, so we have 0, 1, and we have 1, e. Those are our points. All right, so here we have a vertical flip, so it should be underneath the asymptote. We have a horizontal flip, which means we're going to be going this way, and that way, sorry. and we are moving it to the right 3 and down 1. So we have all 4 types of transformations here. All right, this is going to be our horizontal asymptote. All right, I'm just mark this up just a little bit, just so you guys get an idea of where we should graph this roughly. I don't normally do this, but just for this one I will. Okay, so we are going to start at 0, 1. It gets flipped vertically, which means it becomes 0, -1. Flipped horizontally does not move it at all. I move it to the right 3, 1, 2, 3, down 1. All right. So that point is at 3, -2. We'll label that in a second. 1, E. 1, E is roughly here. I flip it vertically. I go to 1, -E. I flip it horizontally. It goes to -1, -E. I move it to the right. It goes to 2, -E, and then down 1. All right. So it look like that. All right. So this is at 3, 2. All right. This is at -1 plus 3. This is at 2. Comma, what did I do to E? Well, I flipped it to make it -E, then moved it down 1. So this is -E minus 1, which makes sense because 1, 2, 3, it's, -3.7, but it doesn't matter as long as it's somewhere the right spot. And you don't even need the hash marks. As long as everything's labeled correctly, you are good. So this was at 3, -2. I don't know if you can tell that was -2. All right, so the domain of this is -infinity to infinity. For all exponentials, it's always everything. The range is going to be from -infinity to whatever the horizontal asymptote is, which is -1. All right. Last one, quadratic. We have a parabola, all right? That gives me my x-coordinate of the vertex. That's my y. I move it to the left 1, because set this equal to 0, which is -1, and down 2. All right, so there is my... All right, -1, -2. And then I go up a half to the right 1, up a half to the left 1, and there and there. So I'm at, what is that? -1, -2. This is at 0, -1.5. And this is at -2, -1.5. The domain is everything, -infinity to infinity. The range is from -2, sorry, it should be a bracket, to infinity. All right. So we just did one of every type except for the constant, right? Remember, if it's y equals 2, your graph would just be, there's your xy plane, go to 2 on the y axis, just draw a horizontal line going through it. That's all it looks like. All right, so there's an example. Now you have 9 of each one. All right, 1 of each of the 9, I should say. All right, so let me know if you have any questions. All right, you'll have your quiz on Thursday and be very similar to this. Just make sure to do domain range and how to graph each basic shape, a transformation of each basic shape. All right, stay healthy. Talk to you guys soon.